I spent $22,000 on a bunch of wood about a year and a half ago, and I thought that it was going to be a great investment for my business. This wood was some of the most incredible wood I've ever seen, and even though $22,000 was a lot of money, I felt like if I was to buy these pieces individually, it probably would have been about double that. However, in all that time, all I've ended up selling is one table from that entire lot, and the gross price of that table was $18,000, so I haven't even broken even on what I thought was going to be a surefire investment. Recently, though, I had a client reach out and said that he needed 2 tables, and the tables he was describing seemed like they would be a perfect fit for this wood that I'd been saving. He said he needed one breakfast table that was about 42 inches by 42 inches, and one kind of medium large sized dining table that was going to be 7 feet by 42 inches. So I showed him some pictures of the first project that I worked with from this lot of wood. Since it's all from the same tree, the wood color and grain is going to be really similar. He loved the way that that table looked, and we went back and forth on some table base options and all the regular questions that a client might have before placing a large order. We agreed on a price of $25,000 for both tables, everything included, the base included, everything except for shipping, although I always do build a custom crate myself because I just don't trust anybody else to package these tables. So everything except the actual freight cost is going to be $25,000. Some of you might be thinking that $25,000 for cutting 2 rectangles is a bit excessive, and I don't entirely disagree. I certainly can't afford $25,000 for my breakfast and dining table. However, I'm happy to take the money of those that can, and I do think I owe it to them to make it the best rectangle possible. And here's one way that I'm doing that. We had this one bit of live edge. We really wanted to maximize the size of these, and so this live edge was just kind of an eyesore, and I've done a similar fix to this in the past. I actually have a short on that as well. And I thought that it would be not easy, but I thought I would nail it the first time. And the problem was I actually chose a horrible piece of wood the first time I attempted this, and I ended up cutting the whole thing off and doing it a second time. And you can see that in the long video that I have on the same build. But eventually I felt really good, and I'll give you a good reveal shot in the end. But those are just some of the small steps that I try to take to hopefully make the best rectangles possible. I made this drilling guide on my drill press to hopefully enable me to get perfect 90-degree holes for adding these threaded inserts. And by the way, if you do make furniture and you want to add a little bit more of a professional touch, I highly recommend using these threaded inserts. Pro tip, use the steel ones, don't use those zinc ones or the brass ones. The steel ones are great though. Whether to add bow ties or not to the top of the table was one of the conversations that we went back and forth on. The client does like the look of them, but he doesn't really want to force it. And I said there weren't really any spots on top of the tables that needed a bow tie. We could add some if you want them just for aesthetics, but eventually he decided no bow ties on the top. It'll just be a nice, clean, smooth slab. However, there's one crack on the end that I thought could potentially benefit from having a bow tie, and it does add kind of a nice little craft